Hello everybody, welcome on in to the stream. Thank you so much guys for joining in. Today is a interesting day. Today is a day about where WWE 2K22 will get some more info about MyGM Mode, a very known mode that a lot of people wanted, and everybody is happy that we're finally getting it. So today is going to be a video. They're going to be showcasing a video in a few moments. I think it's not yet up, but that's not the place I wanted to showcase. But they're basically showcasing the RingSide report, which is the second RingSide report video. They showcased about the gameplay, the WWE 2K22 gameplay, which showcased Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest. Good gameplay, good mechanics. But today they're gonna showcase MyGM Mode. They're going to go deep dive into this. So that's gonna be something. That's what we're gonna take a look at. That's what we're gonna react to as we watch along RingSide reports. So anybody who's gonna be watching this on YouTube later on as a video, there will be timestamps down below so that you can easily be able to take a look at the reaction and everything else in the discussions and all that stuff. However, it is a live stream, so that's how it's gonna go. But anyway, regardless of that, I would like to welcome some of you guys. Thank you so much, Jen, for joining. Milk35, how's it going? Akshat, welcome on in. Thanks for joining in. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. My headphones, I'm a lot getting used to this new headphones, so it feels that I'm not speaking loud enough. So, but I hope I am. But it's good to see you guys again. They have not started it yet. It should be starting in a few seconds, hopefully. But that's basically what it is. I'm gonna just switch over here and keep it that way. So before we do this, let me just come over here and do something else. But I hope you guys are doing well. WWE 2K22 is something that I am very much looking forward to. I think a lot of people are looking forward to this game, and it's coming very soon. It's in 3 weeks time. We have this 1 week, then we have the next week. We have almost 3 weeks ready to go. We have to wait for 3 weeks more before we get the early access of the game. In about 3 weeks on 8th March, if anybody has bought the NWO edition of the game, you can get the game, you can get an early access for the game 3 days earlier, which means you will get the game on 8th March. So that way you can play the game early and get to see everything early. I have not bought the game yet. I'll be probably waiting a little bit to see how it's gonna go. Maybe I'll get something else, you never know. I mean, I'm trying to see if I can get enough so that I can buy the game, because the game is a little bit expensive. So we'll have to see. I've already been playing a lot of games. Again, if you guys do not know, I already make review videos in my YouTube channel. So definitely, oh, they have actually started. So yeah, I definitely work on review videos for a lot of games. I'm currently playing Dying Light 2. I'll make a review video about that. Hopefully sooner I'll play Horizon Forbidden West so that I can make a review video of it as well. So there's a lot of games that I always make review videos. I also make news videos that almost goes daily, depending upon what news is. So that's what happens. But Spurs, thank you so much for joining in. I hope you're doing well. Welcome on to the stream once again. They're joining with a 1 minute countdown, so we're gonna just go ahead and go right into it. I hope the music is not too bad this time around. So it actually isn't, so it's better. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump into this. The music, I'm gonna lower it down for the meantime. I'm gonna lower it down over here as well, so that it's not too much. But yeah, that's how it's gonna be. I hope you guys, I want to know from you guys, are you guys excited for WWE 2K22? Because I for sure am looking forward to it. I mean, I have my hopes high. I know that GM mode is coming back. That's true, Milk, it is coming back. I'm sorry I'm referring to you after a while, but it's definitely coming back after so long, and I'm happy it's coming back. However, I'm a little bit curious about how it's gonna go. WWE 2K22 GM mode is a little bit different. It definitely hits different with the way they're doing it, but it's a lot different than I personally would think should be. So I'm a little bit confused, a little bit worried about GM mode. So far what I've seen with gameplays and everything, it looks fantastic. It looks really good. Visuals are a big change. But I do hope that the AI is better, a lot of things are better. But anyway, we're gonna jump right into this. Let's go. I'm gonna increase the volume. Hopefully it's good enough. Should be good enough. Let's take a look. Please take this out. So yeah, this is basically a premiere video, so it's not live. This video at least. But yeah, surely excited, me too.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Lionel Jinx. I'm the creative director of the WWE 2K franchise, and with me once again,
Hey y'all, I am Christina DM Pham, art producer on WWE 2K22, and welcome to episode 2 of RingSide Report, brought to y'all by the teams at 2K and Visual Concepts.
Now, if you missed the first episode of the RingSide Report with that sweet gameplay, click the link below this video to check it out. But in the meantime, we're here to provide regular updates and deep dives into the many areas and features of WWE 2K22.
And of course, you'll hear from both Lionel and myself on a regular basis through the game's launch in March on game updates, DLC, patches, and more. And also, again, we're not doing this alone because we're bringing the homies from the
Game
dev
updates,
team with
DLCs. It's perfect.
All right, so in one of our previous announcements, we ever so briefly called out the new MyGM Mode, where you take on the role of a WWE general manager to prove whether you have what it takes to run the most successful brand in sports entertainment. So please join me in welcoming 3 folks who were instrumental in making MyGM a reality. Design director Alan Flores, senior designer Chris Mecenas, and producer Brian.
It's going to be a lot of those talks where they talk about with the
Thank you
developers.
So much for joining us
but
today.
definitely important.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I have my MyGM outfit on today. I suited up for this
Very fancy.
conversation.
Very
Yeah.
nice. The developers are like, nice. Can we just get on with it?
So let's get right into it. We're gonna roll the footage.
Awesome.
To start off, who are the GMs and what does selecting one versus another mean for the player experience?
So we let you choose a different starting point. You can choose your own GM, or you can choose a brand that you want to manage. So having those different combinations of things can affect the way that your game is going to play throughout. So you can play as Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville, Stephanie McMahon, Shane McMahon, or a custom GM. You can play as Raw,
Custom
SmackDown,
GM.
NXT, or NXT UK. And it's really pretty interesting the way that those things combine, because each one of those choices is going to give you a very powerful power card that you can play throughout the course of the game. So like, for example, Adam Pearce will allow you to, he's got an instigator card. If you play that, then all of your rivalries will be increased by 1 level. Or if you play as Sonya Deville, you'll be able to boost the morale of your entire roster.
To me, the next part of the mode
That's
is
interesting.
my favorite part is selecting the draft, right? So selecting your superstars, but I always find trouble like trying to, select a balanced roster because I get, my eyes get big whenever I see like those big names on the board that's still available and then I run out of money. So I know there's a lot that goes into booking a balanced roster. And so can you talk more about that process and help me become a better GM?
That's also my favorite part of the mode as well. Once you get into the draft, basically that's your first look at all the superstars. And what you're going to find is you're going to see a lot of different stats that are going to stand out to you. You're going to see things like their class, their alignment, their popularity, their stamina. But what's really important to look at kind of early on is what their class is. So like there's giants, cruisers, specialists. And what you're going to want to do is like draft a kind of variety of different superstars that kind of go well together. And we do a decent job at telling you like, oh, these are going to be good matchups to help you along the way. But obviously you can draft whoever you want, make your dream roster. And speaking of dream roster,
Oh man, what was that for Brock
Lesnar?
Lesnar?
Their own custom draft pool that include created superstars too. So they're going to be able to go wild with that. When they create their custom superstars, it will generate a cost for them. And speaking of which, when you're drafting, something to also be very careful about is how much each person is it's going to cost when you draft them. You have a budget when you go into it, and
Oh,
you spend all the money,
2,70,000,
after the draft,
750.
You might not have money to sign
Guy kinda
free
sweet.
agents, enhancement talent,
Whoa.
legends. There's a lot of things you can do with money. So you have
Sign
to be very
free
careful.
agents.
I'm exactly like
That's
that now.
that's
I go
nice. I
in,
like that.
draft all
Where
the available
superstars can
I
become a free
and
agent.
I go in with $0 trying to set up this entire show, and I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. Oh no. If you have the budget, you can have awesome matches in Hell in a Cell or TLC, but that was cost a little bit extra money to set up. So if you don't have the budget,
This is what I'm
you're stuck
so
running
confused
one-on-one
about, where they
matches or
show
tag team
3
with,
matches only.
no awesome match types. With these show logistics, you can have that high school gym arena, or you can move up into like concert halls and even these giant arenas that can give you bonuses.
We'll take a
not
look into
only
that a
just
little bit
your show
later.
ratings, but also if you achieve certain little goals assigned to those things.
We have a store where you can buy different power cards, where you can buy a lot of useful things like
Health spa.
there's a health spa. So say I have a superstar that's feeling, maybe I put him in 5 Hell in a Cells in a row. So he's a little bit injured or something like that. He's a little bit down. So they're like, all right, here's a health spa. You go there for a week and rest, and then you boost some of your stamina. Just take a little bit of a break. We also have a system of commissioner goals where basically Triple H will show up, will say, I want you to not don't put Drew McIntyre in a match this week. And if you do that, then you can earn a power card from him. And some of those are very powerful things that will boost your ratings, boost your superstars. It's really a lot of fun stuff in there.
Yeah, see, I tend
like
to
how it's
be,
Nia
you know,
Jax.
the guy who just follows the rules. But I know, Alan, you always play like the villain type of GM.
Yeah, it's weird because, you know, I don't really consider myself a bad guy when I'm doing it.
So there is an
My
AI which
superstars
kind of
react
drives
anyway.
you
So
on
basically
what you
I
need to do
is
in the game.
I will book them
Which
in
is
the
quite
hardest
interesting.
matches I can to really boost my ratings all the time. And they'll complain. They'll come to me in the dramas, go like, I'm feeling tired. I'm feeling injured. And then if I
Time
actually put
machines.
them in another
Oh,
match, they become injured. Then they'll come to me like, what the heck are you doing? I'm injured. I knew this was going to happen. And then there's a tendency
major
to
oh
my
wow,
bench to
okay.
leave. So I try and, you know, use some of the stuff to
That's cool.
boost the
That's
morale a
interesting.
bit, to get them to stay around, give them a little bit extra money so they can hang around and help fill out my brand still.
And don't leave the contra out or
So
like
I want to get
leave the
into
company.
once you actually build out your shows for the week. Let's talk about some of the different variations of how you can view your show, because there's the option to simulate an entire show. You can play these matches, but then also one of my favorites is that you can spectate as, yeah, exactly what Lionel's doing. You can spectate and let's call out that spectate mode is exclusive to MyGM. So Chris, I want you to talk about what this means for the player experience.
Here
Obviously,
Charlotte Flair
you
looks
can play
better.
your matches. We really wanted to make sure you were able to do that. Another really cool thing is, and I know like maybe you thought that you wouldn't be seeing your GM anytime in the ring, but you're going to be able to use your GM and interfere in matches as well. Whether that's one of the ones you picked or one of your created ones, you finally get to see yourself in some action.
Depth in this mode now, yep. There's a lot of depth in this
like
mode.
you're mentioning, spectate, you're going to be able to do a really good job at basically being in the production truck and acting as if you were running the show from that side. It's really cool. It's something we haven't seen before. I don't believe so. You get to like change the cameras at will. And basically how you think you should run the show, you finally get the chance to run the show that way. I know you want to maybe cheese a 5-star rating out of there.
This is quite interesting.
I'm assuming that's
Whoa.
But
what is this
really
way of climbing the ladders?
Really
Jesus Christ.
Matchups, because it's the viewers that are going to give you the ratings at the end of the day.
Why you always gotta pick on me though?
But yeah, there's a lot of depth in this game
I feel like Chris
mode
is
at least,
Lionel
which is
isn't
cool.
great at building these matchups. So he's not going to get these five-star ratings.
Chris is looking at my stats and he's just seeing like, yeah, I never got out of the high school gym because I keep blowing my budget. You know, like.
But yeah, it's just interesting. A lot of new things that they've added in the game.
I'm just a rule follower, I guess.
But
man.
Brian, I do want you to go into what happens post-match.
Definitely. So regardless of whether you are playing, spectating, or simulating, after you are completing your match card, you go to a nice post-match breakdown screen, get a nice little match report that you can click on for all of your matches to show you, like, well, when you went in this match, you can see that these styles didn't quite click, or it was, you know, people were hoping to see maybe a higher popularity superstar in the main event, and we're surprised to see this superstar in there. So there's a lot of really cool things that can really help out.
Basically playing with the audience and all that stuff, which kind of makes sense.
Here we go. Just gonna keep piling it on, huh? See how it is.
And then we get a nice breakdown screen that shows you exactly what you did that impacted your revenue, that impacted your viewership. And as Alan alluded to earlier, there's also some fun social media posts on the side when you get to these screens.
I like that. I actually like that. I was not there in the previous games, obviously.
Season. It's just cool having that kind of flavor, that kind of personality to MyGM that kind of grows as your season grows throughout.
I would like to see how that goes. I like that side of thing right now.
I'm glad you brought that up. But what can
I was born for this.
To expect when they actually play through a complete session?
Well, I mean, the goal of the mode is to win, basically. So you decide if you're going to play against an AI GM or you can play against another person. You can play local co-op. We've even figured out a way to do some remote play via Steam remote play type of thing. So you can play a little bit of online play that way. So basically, your goal is to win. So throughout the course of the week, you're going to put on weekly shows. You want to make those great, but you're building towards a pay-per-view every 5 weeks. So then there's real WWE pay-per-views. There's like Backlash and Extreme Rules, with ending up with your WrestleMania at the end. So on your course, as you're going through there, you're trying to build up money, unlock new arenas, get new logistics, get better crew, all that type of stuff, make your show bigger and bigger, make more money, and then go into WrestleMania with a bunch of killer rivalries, put on your best show, and then just go in and destroy your opponent. That's the goal.
All right.
So you mean how I'm gonna destroy Chris the next time we play multiplayer? Because I mean, now that I got all the tips, I'm out of the high
But
school
yeah,
gym.
so we are
Team
competing
SmackDown.
against AI, either AI
I don't know if you
GMs,
got all the tips,
or if you want to, we can compete against multiplayer GMs, which is pretty cool.
No, actually, speaking of like going through the season, and Alan mentioned this a little bit earlier. He mentioned the word dramas, and basically what dramas are is basically you as a GM get to interact with either the commissioner, which is Triple H, or your superstars, and they're going to be asking you for like promises or like rematches, or Triple H will be saying you're doing this kind of poorly, and those are ways of getting tips as well. Like Triple H will tell you what you should be doing better. So I really hope you're paying attention to those line out, because you're going to probably need those along the way. I don't need those, but I do want to make sure that I'm keeping my superstars happy. That's something that you're going to have to also manage throughout the season, is your superstars' happiness and them around.
Not happy losing my
Yeah, I think one of
championship
the
last
things
week.
that I
That's
love
nice.
that
I
you
like the
guys
complaints
done
and all that
is
stuff that's going
building
on.
in those tips that you
Superstar
talk about. Like,
interactions.
even like when you talk about the draft, like that little hint at the bottom of like, hey, here's who we recommend you guys draft based on who you already drafted. And so like we hold your hand throughout the entire process, which to me, it makes it way less intimidating when jumping in to this brand new mode to our game.
People want to draft their top guys, the guys that they like, which is great, but it's like, well, maybe this person will match up a little bit better with that person, just so they understand it, as opposed to just going, I have these two top stars, what's going on? They're not getting the ratings that I want. It's like, well, you have two guys that are slowly plotting around each other and they're not putting on a good match, right? So that's what we're trying to help people put on the best matches possible.
That's one point when you're talking about putting on those matches and pairing people up properly. There at the very end, when it shows you the match breakdown, you'll get a certain amount of stars, obviously, but then there'll be comments like 1.5 stars, disappointing, and that hurts. That could have picked any word, disappointing. I'm like, oh man.
But Christina, does that hurt more than like the fans calling you out for having a terrible show? I get, man, that stuff, I get buttered.
But yeah,
I'm just like,
I can
oh,
see where
okay,
they're going with, and I
mean,
actually
it's
like
just
the things
piles
that
at
this
that
game
point,
mode
so
has.
it's-
Basically building your own show and trying to
Nothing
obviously
worse than being
increase the
a SmackDown show
ratings,
and
which
just
is
seeing someone like, oh,
something that a
wow,
GM mode will
really
obviously
great.
have.
What happened
Yeah.
SmackDown?
Yeah. Yo, we are
We can also see how many fans you have and how
So
much it's
I got
increasing.
One final question. So you're pulling up MyGM for the first time. Which GM are you picking? What brand are you running? And who's your first draft pick? Let's start with Lionel, because there's been a lot of smack talk. So
Oh,
far.
okay. We smack talk, so I'm gonna stick with SmackDown because I'm gonna lay the SmackDown on Chris. And Alan, if you want to step in too, like I got it all for you guys. Brian, me and you are cool. I ain't got nothing for you, man. And for my GM, I am choosing Adam Pearce for obvious reasons. We have a lot of things in common. Shiny domes. But yeah,
I think at this point they're going to be talking about
Alan.
what
No,
they're going to be
hold on,
choosing.
Chris, you've done the most smack talking today, so you're next.
I feel like,
But yeah, they're basically going to be talking more about what they're going to choose.
well, man, he took my show.
But basically, this GM mode has like what, 3 GMs that you can choose, or 4 GMs in total. 3 of them are Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville, and Stephanie McMahon. The 3 their characters in WWE. But then you can also create a custom character and make them as GM. And then you can. The only drawback I see in this one, not exactly a drawback per se, but the only drawback for me. Oh, you can also choose Shane McMahon. But the only drawback for me would be that you can only manage shows of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, or NXT UK, which is kind of a disappointing thing for me. I feel like that is not. I would like to have custom shows and do GM mode in there as well, but I cannot do that, which is okay as well. And there are a few things that I still don't understand, such as the matches in the GM mode. They always show that there's going to be only 3 matches and 2 promos, which is a lot less. A show usually can have 5, 7, 8, 2, 3. It depends upon how the showrunner runs the show. So it really depends upon what they want. So there should not be limitation to only 3 matches, which we will take a look at later, because the video is going to be get uploaded and separately, and then we can take a look at what's happening there in a much better way, because there were some screenshots that they showed it so quickly that we need to take a look back into it again. But it is a little bit off in that section, but I like it so far. I like how you can the fans can interact with you based on the social medias. You take a look at social media and be like, okay, these things probably need changing. What's happening? Superstars will interact with you, and whether they will be disappointed or happy or whatever, you can actually interact to them and let them know on what your next steps are for that particular superstar, which is also pretty cool. I like that idea. And obviously, planning matches is something that is going to be required. Obviously, you had to plan matches to make the matches better for the fans so that you can get better ratings and more income. It's all about running the show, which is great. So making income and all that stuff. And then you compete with AI GM. So maybe if you're running SmackDown show as a GM, then Raw, NXT, NXT UK, you'll be competing with these 3 shows as well. So we'll have to see how your rating is as compared to them. But you can also take this online, which is also a cool thing to do. And another cool thing that I like was spectating, where you can spectate anybody's match, which is quite obvious, quite awesome. But camera angles is what you can change and make it look like you are producing the show with the camera angles and all that stuff. That is pretty nice as well, in my opinion. However, I am not so much liking the camera angles per se, but we will have to see, and we'll have to wait and see. Maybe there are more camera angles that they're hiding it. But I would probably just simulate instead of spectating, which is not gonna be the best. Spectating is something that probably isn't the best idea, but simulating, I think, is something that I would most probably do. But then again, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But I think this, for them, I think this is all it. I don't think so. There'll be, oh my god, what's happening with that? Alright, well, she did something.
Alright, y'all. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much to Alan, Brian, and Chris for joining us on today's episode.
That's great.
Alright, so that is basically all they had to talk about in this basic episode.
Alright, y'all. That's it for our time today.
There's nothing more. There's nothing much more to say.
Joining us on today's episode about MyGM. And if you
But basically, yeah, I'm actually liking everything that they have showcased so far. It's pretty nice. It's not too bad. It's not too it's something that is interesting that they have added all of these things. They have definitely worked a lot on this mode. I am happy that they have worked a lot on this mode. I was trying to write something, but I could not. But they have definitely worked a lot on this mode. There's a lot of things that I like so far in this one. I like it a lot that they've added so many ideas, so many things, and that's great. They're definitely bringing in GM mode in a different taste. However, obviously, not having custom shows in GM mode is something that I feel like is as a drawback. Not having enough matches in a GM mode I feel like is another drawback. But I think that is kind of limiting and they themselves trying to make sure that, hey, this is the best way. It's not going to take a lot of load on the game. It's not going to be too much on the game. But yeah, to be honest, let's take a look again at what everything was and how it was all done. But before I do this, let me just pause this real quickly. But yeah, let's take a look at what we had so far. So obviously, we're going to take a look at this, which they were talking about. EGM, one of the things, this is the discussion part where one of the things that I really wanted to see what they have added, and that is EGM and brand have a unique power card that only they have access to. So you will start with this exclusive power card by choosing a particular GM. So a GM will have different power cards. Sonya Deville's power card is raise the entire roster morale by plus 15. Probably the confidence and all that stuff to plus 15. So this is an exclusive power card that you get to play. So this is where the cards come into play, which I was very questionable about. But this is the cards that come into play, which is quite nice. I like this idea. However, I hope it's not too much, but it doesn't look like it's too much. That is for Sonya Deville. I think Adam Pearce had a different thing. If I can actually find it. I don't know if I can find it, but that's Sonya Deville. That's the only one I see. But that was also Adam Pearce. But again, obviously the most important thing is that's probably is the thing that you obviously have to select what GM you want to go with. But the most important thing I think was, where is this screenshot? Was obviously drafting a superstar. Now, You have to draft superstars in your show. You can draft whatever superstars you want. Every superstar has classes: specialist, bruiser, fighter, and I think cruiser. These are the 4 classes. And I think the heal and face is basically given by a green and a red. You can see in this particular under role, you have green, which means it should be a face, and you have red, which means it should be a heal. That's what I feel like. We should also put down the music again. But yeah, that's what I feel like it is. And you can obviously have each superstar has a particular amount. So you need to see whether you have enough amount or enough money to draft them. You can see the budget. I cannot see it right now, but the budget is $2,750,000, which is a good amount of budget. But again, in that budget, you have to go for. If you want to kind of see this or compare this, I think it's somewhat a little bit similar to that of a park game. How a park game, you have a budget, you use that budget to make new things in the park so that the people can have a lot more fun and they can give you a rating. It's just in that way is how you play GM mode. I like how we have different rounds in this. So I guess so, again, as drafting rounds, so we have 4 different shows in this game. There's Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK. So when drafting happens, each of these shows will draft a superstar. So I think the other 3 shows will be AI driven. So the AI will draft their superstars while you will draft your superstars and see what you end up with, which is quite interesting. And I actually like that. It's not too bad. Again, they're competing. I think the draft rules were just mentioned over here, if I can actually find it out. Do a match in WWE 2K19, heaviest dude versus lightest dude. We'll see about that. But the draft rules is each GM will start with a budget of $2,750,000. GMs will take turns drafting. After starting with player 1, there will be 8 rounds of drafting. After the 8th round, drafting becomes optional. GMs can opt out or draft until they're out of cash. Okay, that's pretty nice. That's interesting. GMs can press the R3 button to get recommendations on who to draft. You can also press square button and get more information. So again, this drafting becomes kind of a competition with AI and all that stuff. If you're playing multiplayer, it becomes much more of a competition. So I like that idea of drafting. The most important thing is managing roster that I actually like this one. We have signing free agents. When a superstar is leaving the company, they become a free agent. So if you want to, you can sign a free agent right now. For example, I think free agent here refers to somebody who left a show. So if I'm managing SmackDown, somebody left Raw, then that superstar becomes a free agent. Now I can draft or I can buy that superstar to my show or draft that superstar to my show based on how much money I have. That is, I think, a pretty cool thing to do. Again, also you can sign in legends, basically the older guys, and then you can manage roster, which is also pretty good. You have a lot of stuff. You have power cards that you can see, ratings, a journal for some reason. I don't know what that means. Show logistics and booking the show. Which is obviously that we have seen. Now, booking the show is something that this is what it is, and I hate this. This is the thing that I do not like at this point in time in GM mode. You can only have 3 matches, which is very bad because you have an opener match, you have a mid-card match, and you have a main event. However, a show usually have 7 to 6 matches, but this one is giving you 3 matches. Maybe this is a way the game can handle, so that the developers are trying their best, so that this is the best way they can handle, or this game can handle with having 3 matches only. That you will have to use 3 matches, or you can actually, I think it looks like the maximum you can go is 3 matches, and the max promos you can do is 2 matches, because it does say unbooked, but I believe you can go through with whatever show you have booked, but it is very small in my opinion, in terms of this. So I don't know why they went with this idea, but that is one thing that I'm not a big fan of. Moving ahead, we have show logistic, what type of arena you have. You can start from high school gym, and then you can unlock arenas based on the amount. The crew, the special effects, you'll have basic light and effects. This I like. This is the things I like. Like you have a basic road crew, a basic light and effects, so you won't see so much lighting, so much effects, and a basic local sign and advertisements. Very simple, very basic. But as you grow, as you earn more money, you can buy a better road crew, you can buy a better special effects production crew, you can buy a better group of people who can do better flyer advertisements and all that stuff. That I actually love. That is pretty nice to do. However, I wish there was a little bit more in terms of the matches and all that stuff. But as we move forward, there are more things in this game. Obviously, we have Triple H, who is basically the COO of the company right now, he's the higher, the top of the top. He'll be communicating communicating with you as you're the manager. So as you can see, we have, look, you need to better take care of your superstars. I understand sometimes they need to be in big matches, but make sure to plan around that. I like how Triple H is communicating with you as a manager to make sure that superstars are happy and all that stuff, and make sure that not all superstars will get the main events and all that, and not all superstars will get the championship matches, so that you can run the show and get a better rating. I think that is what Triple H is trying to do here. As you can see, I'm giving you a health spa power card. Use it to gift you one of superstars. Again, a power card which can be used. It's too late for Finn. You'll have to wait until he's recovered. But try to make sure that other stars in the roster don't get injured. Again, injury happens, which is something that you can see over here. Apparently, Finn Balor got an injury and all that stuff. So I like how superstars will try to connect with you if they're happy with you, or if they're disappointed in you, or if they have an injury, which is, I think, pretty nice. Moving ahead, there's a lot of things. Obviously, Finn Balor talking about how you imbecile, I warned you that this was going to happen. We are not machinists. How about you take better care of your talent? I like how Finn Balor, as a superstar, who a manager like me have drafted, he is talking about, I knew that I will have an injury. You are making me do matches. Now I do have an injury. How is this going to help? How is this going to help me as a superstar? You need to take care of your talent. That's what he's saying. So you need to talk to your superstars to make sure, like, okay, this is the plan going forward with you, and this is how it's going to go. That is, I think, planning and strategy a little bit is something that I like. You have to make sure that every superstar is happy with you and the show, so that, I mean, they do not need to be disappointed, because if they're very disappointed, they will leave the show, which you do not want, which is, I actually like that. Again, moving forward, I'm just trying to see what things are. Obviously, Charlotte Flair over here looks a lot better, but that's the only gameplay we got to see. Another gameplay obviously was Brock Lesnar. The only thing that they talked about is, okay, you can bring you as a manager to the ring with your superstar. However, the manager entrance, the way he is walking, is the exact same. There's no difference. Obviously, the lighting is amazing, but it's the exact same. The way he's walking is the exact same as it was in the previous games, which is, I mean, I'm nitpicking at this point, but I wish this was different, but it isn't. Another thing is you can spectate, and you can change the way the camera looks in a match. So usually, as a production crew sitting in the backstage, you will be controlling the cameras to see which camera is the right camera, because people are watching on television. So I think that's the role you'll play here as you spectate, which is interesting, but not an option that I would like to see. But maybe a lot of people would do that. But not my favorite. Obviously, you'll have this. Now, one thing that I did see was controls. Apparently, you can display controls as well. But controlling in the Money in the Bank briefcase, it's a very weird control. I hate this control, but that they did not change, which is so odd and weird. But again, moving forward, again, Triple H talking with you and all that stuff. Have you been checking your fan and revenue breakdown after a show? I'm going to give you a good idea on what you need to adjust with maximum gain loss. I actually like this. Again, it's a show. Triple H is basically a boss. So you need to make sure that your fans are happy. You need to take a look at your revenue, if you're earning well and all that stuff, which is pretty nice. Again, these are good stuff from the game. I like the ideas about this. And I'm taking a look at everything right now. If we take a look back over here. Come on. No. The problem with this is, they go for it too quickly. And they don't show it good enough. So I'm probably will have to take a look like this. Okay, there you go. Power cards. You can have fix a match as a power card. Guarantees that the chosen superstar will win their match this week. Match fixing. I like this. We have match fixing to guarantee that this particular superstar will win. If you want to do this. Too extreme, I think it's going to probably go for a little bit of extreme in terms of matches. A little bit of TLC. It looks like you're going to make sure that this match will 100% be a TLC or something like that. Free booking arena. A superstar's GM. I like these kind of things. These, I don't know how the power cards is going to be. Will we get a list of power cards and then we're going to choose? Or is it based on how much budget you have? Or is it based on what's happening at this point in time? I cannot say. But this is interesting cards, which I actually like. I don't dislike this. There was another, obviously we have this kind of show again. Let me see over here if I can take a look at this. Which is very hard to do, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I actually like that. Again, free arena, this available for purchase, a better backstage area, I believe. Now you can purchase this. Oh, the Gorilla Crew. You just purchased a new Gorilla Crew, which is pretty nice. You can obviously see the revenue and the viewership. The show quality was D, 11 out of 30. Match quality was 94 out of 120, which is great. Rating is 122. You have new fans. You can see how many new fans you got, how many last week's fans were, total number of fans, were there a change in fans, and all that stuff. This is pretty nice. Again, a GM would do that. A general manager would do that. Show notes. Roddy Piper back in the ring after so long on Raw. Grew up watching Piper. Now this is show notes. This is basically fans in social media in the game talking about the game, which is talking about the show, which is quite nice. Why did Walter decide to get himself DQ'd just when the match was starting to get good? I like this. This is fan interactions in social media that you take a look on, which is really cool in my opinion. Again, this is also another thing that I'm looking at. So in here, in SmackDown, you can see we have 3 mid-card matches. This is the one I was talking about. 3 mid-card matches, 1 opener and 1 main event. This makes it have 5 matches in total. So I was talking about how disappointed I am. This makes it turn around. In here, you can actually book 3 mid-card matches and a main event. Now, I don't know why there's a WrestleMania sign behind it, but it could be possible that this is the last show before WrestleMania, which is a pay-per-view. So if it's the last show before WrestleMania, and that's why I'm having 5 matches, then it's a different thing. However, if we can add matches, which I'm not seeing in controls here, I'm not seeing anywhere in controls that we can add matches, but I do see 5 matches. However, it says WrestleMania in the background, which I believe is the show right before WrestleMania, which means this has to be a big show or a final show before WrestleMania, one of the biggest shows. So that's why it has 5 matches, which is kind of a bad thing. I feel bad that because it's WrestleMania season, that's why the show has 5 matches. Yeah, it is WrestleMania week, yeah, which I don't like. I mean, we should have the options to have X number of matches or a limitation, but more than 3. But because of WrestleMania week, that's how it is, which kind of sucks. But that's how it is. I like it. It gives more importance to WrestleMania week. Be like, oh, the final show before WrestleMania, make sure you have these many matches and give them a good show before WrestleMania so that the fans are hyped and you are doing a good job as a general manager. I get the idea. Again, Alexa Bliss being a face, how she loves everything that's going on. I'm talking, of course, about some better effect packages so that the talent can take the next step. This is where you have to see like, oh, do I have enough budget to have these effects and all that stuff, which is, I actually like that. You can see you have $621,000 budget, which is, I don't know, depends upon how expensive things are. Again, Walter talking about I'm not happy losing my championship. As a former champion, I'm enacting my rematch clause. I want a championship rematch against Mysterio. Nobody else better than a title shot. So we're like, sure thing. Good. Don't want to keep me waiting for too long. I already miss wearing that gold around my neck. So that's how we can see that Walter's morale was increased because he just said yes to this. So again, it depends upon your calls and how you shape up. Obviously, get recommendations and all that stuff, which is pretty nice. Moving ahead, I don't know there is any more that they actually talked about about the GM mode. Let me see. Again, obviously tickets, all the revenues and everything that you get to see after every show, which is again a nice touch in the game. Moving forward, obviously they didn't talk about much, but basically that was it. That was everything that the game showcased in MyGM mode, and I don't mind that. I think that's pretty good. I like what they have in stores for MyGM. There are a lot of changes, new additions to the game mode, new ideas, a lot of fan interactions, a lot of superstars interactions. I get why this GM mode doesn't have custom shows, because you won't get that superstar interaction. But at the same time, I think superstars are basically AI driven. So you can have a custom superstar and, use an AI that does the same thing with those custom superstars as well. But that's not a thing over here. Unfortunately, you can only draft superstars of WWE and only play shows of WWE, which is it's a little bit disappointing, but it's alright. However, I'm really happy with the way the GM mode looks. I think that this is great. Obviously, they could improve. Obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement. But I am happy that it is a thing. GM mode is a thing. I'm happy that they finally brought it. And that is the thing that I'm actually just happy about. I think this is pretty nice. But yes, with that being said, that will be the conclusion of the stream. There's not much to talk about. That will be the conclusion of the stream. I'm not gonna do matches or anything in the stream right now, but I will definitely be doing G7 Wrestling. It's my own personal show that happens on Twitch, so you can join it on March, sometime mid-March, when WWE 2K22 comes out, so that we can do G7 Wrestling on Twitch. So that is something that I will be doing. But that is all for the stream. Obviously, there will be a much shorter video coming up about WWE 2K22, discussing about everything that they showcased for MyGM mode, for anybody who missed it. But anybody who has watched the video, thank you so much for watching. Anybody who is in the stream right now, thank you so much for staying. And definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, to watch more videos just like this, or streams or reactions and all that stuff, review videos, news and everything. Stay tuned to that for all things gaming. Subscribe right here. And yeah, I'll be taking a note and saying goodbye. Thank you so much, Akshat, Sparsh, for staying here and watching the stream. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys next time on another video. Thanks for coming once again. Bye bye, and have a good night, have a good day, and I hope WWE 2K22 is as better as it